all these tools are kind of the same. If I know some of you have used dust.tt, which we talked about in a previous class, it's the same thing. I'll show you really quick. So I have a dust.tt account. I can create a new agent from scratch. I can edit or manage all the other agents that I've got. And these are all the agents that I've created and I use on a day-to-day basis. So I've got 3 pages, and then whenever I want to chat with it, does anybody know Oz Perlman? He's like a mentalist. It was like reading his book, and it's gonna be our book of the month at the company. So tell me about your book. Once you create that agent, all these tools have the ability for you to chat with that agent, and you can fine tune it if you want. Um, in the case of relevance, they have a chat area. And so you just create a new chat and then you act whatever the name of your agent is. So if I click Claire Johnson, you can actually chat with multiple. Downside of chatting with multiple is that tell me about yourself. It's going to create a very long output. That's the problem. They don't actually are interacting with each other, but you can use multiple agents simultaneously, but it's just going to create a lot of information, a lot of content. And you're just going to have to slice through it. I usually just do one at a time. Very, very rarely, unless I'm like, hey, I need to get the answer from 3 different AI agents, the same question and how they look at it. So you probably heard you can build your own like board of advisors. So I do that. I have different AI agents that are excellent at board governance. And so I got 3 different ones, and I'll ask the same question. That's a use case that I would use with multiple agents. Hopefully, app that answered your question.
Yeah, and then back just real quick, which service would you use for financial analyst agent?
And right now, I am recommending Relevance AI. Like I said, there's a free version of it, so you can just get up and running. Pricing is seems pretty reasonable, and remember, you get access to all the different LLMs out there.
Hey, JP, have you made any changes to how you are downloading text of books? I know we covered this when we first started, and I think there were a couple websites you gave, but in terms of creating the agents, getting the text, I just saw that Claire one was pulling from one PDF. And so any new insight on that?
For all the recording and all the attorneys on the call, the answer is do the best that you can to find resources that you can. The There is a dumb way of doing it. If you've got the ebook on Kindle,
Mhm.
Comet Browser will take snapshots of each page and they'll click to go to the next page. Um,
Got it.
Technically, that's not illegal. But like I said, one of the things, and Brittany, my assistant, who sends out the email, says like, I will literally say, "Hey, buy this book, buy this book, buy this book, buy this book,"
Right.
and I've got like stacks in the library over there of all the books that I use for training. But
Yeah.
from like, I'm not going to use that physical book to actually train it. If you actually look at some of the lawsuits that I think it was OpenAI. They basically bought a machine. Even I looked at the machine where you would like scan the page and turn it. Obviously, nobody's going to do that here. You can use, like I said, Comet Browser to go through the Kindle version or e version. Is there any legitimate way to do that with a digital book? The answer is no. There's no legitimate device or tool out there. That being said, so I'm in the process of becoming professor and head of AI for Rollins. And what I'm doing there is we're going to get every one of the professors with all their books, all their content, all their lectures, all their information, create AI agents so that all the students will be able to get access to all the professor's information. And then actually, instead of it just being chat with the agent, it'll be proactive. Once I launch that, I'll let you guys all play with it for free. The idea is that you're not going to be asking Charlie Munger unless you're lived in like, hey, Charlie, what would you do in this deal? What would be really cool is chain of thought. Lyndon provides his information. And then over time, Charlie is texting and emailing you periodically, maybe once a week or a daily digest of all his thoughts. Say you had 10 of the greatest leaders in your life. You're like, I want to get a daily digest. That's actually what I do. I actually ask these advisors and it creates a task or an automated workflow that has questions of things that I'm thinking about. And then I go back in, chat with it, and it's going to update and send it. That's one of the things. There's one professor at Emory and then a bunch of professors at Rollins that we're going to do. But I think everybody on this call should create a Ask Jason or Ask David or Ask Linda or Ask Ad so that you and your team start to be able to not ask you questions that are repetitive. Like if you got employees coming in the company, you don't want them to ask the same question over and over again. So we have Ask Hive. So anybody new to Hive can just use the AI agent Ask Hive to ask all the basic questions, right? And it could be, we've got our offsite coming up next year. What do I wear for the offsite? It could be as simple as that. Or it could be, what's the vacation policy? I want to go to India for the next 2 weeks. How do I do that? Well, there's remote work. Maybe there's vacation time. These kind of things just reduce the amount of friction and wasted time in the process. So I always recommend try to build up your knowledge base, copy and paste, but buy the books.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got to buy the book. Yeah, no. Even if it goes on the shelf. Thank you.
one place I steal good context is OpenStax. So if you got, so I built like, you're talking about the financial agent on OpenStax. It is free for the public. You can, I got the economics, macro, micro. There's an accounting book on there. There's a finance book. There's a data science book. So copied and pasted that all into the knowledge base. So I've got one business analyst, AI agent, and relevance. And I use that for any of those types of questions. So I can take a financial statement, upload it into the tool, and then it'll give you a full analysis. David, go ahead.
Hey, JP, good to see him. I put this question in the chat, so I'm just repeating it here. As you're creating agents, how portable are they from one platform to the other, especially as you find like the next big thing? So whatever replaced relevance, you've got agents in relevance, just like you had in Dust TT. How do you port them over? Is that a simple process, or do you have to recreate them?
I will tell you my cheat code, Comet Browser. So I opened up dust.tt, I opened up relevance, and I said, copy the information from this agent into a relevance, and boom, it was done.
Okay.
Now, if you want to nuance it, it gives you the opportunity to update, the model and stuff like that. But you can always do copy and paste. Going to the all these instructions are pretty standardized, so you just literally copy and paste. So that might be a faster route. But it'll go one by one. If you say comic, go one by one to every single AI agent that I built in dust.tt, copy all the information instructions from there, and create a new AI agent in relevance, it's going to do the work for you. Like I said, because today the models are slow, so you kind of have to set it and forget it. It'll take a while. What I usually do for those kind of instructions, if it's a very long step, I say, let's do 2 of these one by one. I will validate that you did it correctly, and then you can complete the rest of the work. That's literally instructions I've done. But think about it. One of the early classes, what I said is, think about these tools as a high school intern. High school intern, you're not like, go and see what happens. Go discover the world. No, you're like, okay, here's some basic instructions. Let me make sure you understand what I'm expecting out of you. Then follow all the steps. Then go out. If you just say like, I hope my high school intern is going to be able to write code for me, that's going to work probably with all the context that I've got. It's never going to work. But I do think, like I was talking to Lyndon, just record yourself. Hey, this is what I want for the AI agent. This is what I wanted to do. Here's some of my heroes that I think from a value standpoint is going to be effective. Like we have our Peach value system, partnership, execution, experimentation, aptitude, communication, utility. Every company has these values and nobody in the company knows what the hell it means. They're like, oh, well, the founder knows. Then, and they put it on the bathroom walls and all the hallways in the office, and everybody's like, oh, fantastic. They spent enormous amount of money for all these like useless things that people pontificate about. No, create an AI agent that is actually feeding your team. Now, for us, every class, every month, we have these programs that are involved for training. But now, kind of like I was telling about the professor, you can create your own AI agent, David. Ask David, and David can actually send a trigger once a day to the company-wide Teams chat or email and says, hey, here is a value that I think that you should think about, and here are some examples of how to do it. So you can trigger those workflows and automate that process for yourself. Maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's once a week, maybe it's once a month. But think about it as like how would you go through this process and design it? All I know is that a lot of people have said people are being fired and not being hired because of AI. I was like, I do not know that is even remotely possible. I have so much more work now because I can do a lot more things and I have to hire a lot more people. Hanson, who's our head of technology, is on the call right now. He knows I'm like, we've got interns we're hiring in Nepal, interns we're hiring all over India, interns in every single department in the company. One of the things I recommend for you is what do all these interns do? Yes, they might have some homework they get it. Do the knowledge base. Linda, if you get an intern, sit the intern down, record all the stuff, create the documentation and knowledge base for you. For those of you who are in software development companies, our RAG for every software product, every single table in Azure database that we use for Fabric on Azure is being documented, both the internal resources, but with interns. So now I can sit there and say, hey, this is what this application does. This is how the business works. For example, I wrote a book on our entire industry. And many of you have probably done similar things. You're like, hey, here's how the nuances. Guys, well, you can take that book, put it in the RAG, and then ask it questions for the interns, and they can actually update that context on an ongoing basis. So these, I always say like hire more interns. That's just me. But I think there's a lot of value in just the documentation. Because, like, for example, Lyndon, in your use case of your value system, it's going to evolve. Or there might be new leaders that you want to go through. You're not going to have the time to be like, well, I read this great book by, I don't know, by Freeman on strategy. Hey, intern, go and read that book for me, get all the key highlights and notes, and then put it inside here and then do a validation with me later and give me an analysis. Now, if you have the digital version, like Jason was asking, then it becomes a lot easier and you can actually do that process. But still, to create 48 agents, it's over time. It's not overnight, right? Now, the updating process is so critical. And that's where I think interns or new employees coming in, that should be, in my opinion, one of the most important things they're doing, good quality documentation of all the processes that are going on within the company.